regarding Tomb45. The person I'm gonna bring up is a very dear friend of mine. This man, I literally watched him get introduced to the brand and then make a name for himself in the brand. So there's nobody more qualified to come and talk to you guys as far as where he was already before Tomb45, what Tomb45 was able to do for him and what he was able to bring to Tomb45. I think that's what we lose a lot of objective when we're looking to get something from somebody, especially this industry. We often forget what we got to get back. This guy never lost sight of that. He's always been a person to serve. You know, we always talk about being, everybody wants to be a chief, but not everybody understands how to play the role of an Indian. This guy has never played both roles when it comes to this brand. He's built a name for himself, not only through us, but because of himself and his experience. So without further ado, this is my dear friend, Mr. Seancutshair.
No, I definitely did not have any idea that all this would be happening. So we started with 3 chairs with kind of potential for 5 was the plan. And already in my town, that was the biggest shop was 5. So that was kind of all I knew. That's where I came from too, the shop I started in. We're doing the cooler haircuts and enhancements and designs and green hair dye, you know, whatever it is. And the other shops are using, no offense to them, vacuum clippers, hot lather, you know, just very traditional. It was easy for us to set ourselves apart. So very quickly we needed chair number 6. We were too busy. We went on appointments. Then very quickly we needed 7 and we grew to 10. We just got a new location, been about 2 years, and now it's full. So we're actually, JT's gonna potentially run my 2nd location, and I'm working on that right now. So we just kind of been rolling with the punches and upgrading as we need. Really, up until, 2 months ago, I didn't think my town was big enough for 2 of the same shops. So I just thought I'd put it as many as I can in one space. And then kind of through, you know, Chris Bosio does the mentorship now, and we talk about, you know, you can have 2 Starbucks like on opposite ends of the road, right? And it's that busy. And so he was like, you know, your shop's full, you're gonna have people that wanna work for you. If you never open another shop, then that's it. Right, so we're working on it. It's not looking great for us. Again, downfall of a small town. Not that many awesome locations to be had. So I kind of have the one that I want. We're discussing it, and I'll be honest. If it doesn't work out, we're probably just gonna hold off for a little bit and see, you know, another better location comes up soon. But building those relationships, right? I tell you guys that. I remember specifically the first show the CT that I was at where we really built that relationship. And I don't know if anybody knows who Danny is. Danny's really behind the scenes with Tomb. He's not cutting hair. He's kind of the business guy. I came from the corporate world. And I had met Danny at that show and said, he's like, what do you want to do? Man, I want to travel. I want to cut hair. I want to meet people. I want to help educate, whatever. Okay. And he's the one that said, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you, who remembers you, and that was valid. But he challenged me to come to the next show, and you know, those relationships just built. We always teach ourselves to, somebody we just talked to said they just did a free class at their barber school. You know, put yourself out there. Already, since we've started doing class, I just had 10 minutes ago somebody say, can you come to Tucson? And so you just gotta put yourself out there, right? It's just like getting clients. If I cut your hair and it's good, somebody sees it, I get another client. So you start teaching, even if it's for free. Nate's been doing some free stuff. I said he can come to my shop and do a free class if he wants. It's practice, it's social media videos, and nobody knows if you got paid or if you didn't, or if, you know, if there was nobody there. You can put this out and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, and you know, hopefully it grows. So obviously it starts with 1 class a year, maybe, you know, and then the next year you get 2. This year I'm gonna do like 15. So it's just developed. You have to give it that time, right? You have to trust that like it'll come. We talk a lot about people getting ahead of themselves, and when it doesn't come right away, they quit. And that next month could have been the time you get that phone call, right? So. So me and Nate are real tight because we've been doing this those 4 years, paying our own way. And honestly, this year is the first year that I really started getting stuff covered. And a lot of the time, I got to do the work, sell the tickets. That's how I get the free trip. So a long time. And again, we know a lot of people, and this is industry-wide, You know, y'all see it. People pop up. That, you know, maybe they're doing it for free, but you don't see that. You think they're with this brand or whatever, and the next thing you know they're onto something else. And just a lot of people don't give it the time. You know, Kobe Bryant, well, he probably was pretty good, but he didn't start out being the best of the best. You had to put the time in and eventually get better and better and better and better. So you have to give yourself time. We spend a lot of money and a lot of time for free, a lot of sacrifice out of the shop and whatever it is. And then one day I got, hey, you're coming here, your trip's paid, and you're doing main stage. I think as barbers we all wanted freedom, right? And so what comes with doing this, and you have to find your way. Something I talked to Nate about is he doesn't have a YouTube. He doesn't do that. That was something I started a long time ago. It takes a long time to build, but one day, again, it took 4 years, but one day my YouTube check was more than I made cutting hair in a month. So then it allowed me to start, even if cutting hair is not a 9 to 5, it allowed me to start stepping away. Then I can do more weekends out of town because I don't have to rely on cutting hair. It's honestly, I don't want to put Nate's business out there, but this is where Nate's at right now. It's hard for him to leave the shop and sacrifice, 2 days, Friday, Saturday, something like that. And so, you have to, in your own way, you got to figure out how to supplement to make up for, to put you in the position, whatever it is that you want to do. Your other question, how did I set myself apart? One thing I think I've always tried to do, like I said, man, I was at, not every show, but frequent shows. I tried to get in the front row. I was asking questions. There was a class, I'll never forget it, I went to. Some classes, everybody's just quiet, right? I asked like 5 questions. Nobody else is. And again, that's just putting your face out there. So, one thing I've always done, something we do is Tomb45, these are the shows we're doing these days. We're not doing Orlando Premiere much anymore. We're not doing ISSE Long Beach, which is 40,000 stylists and barbers. This is where we're at. And so I think something that helped me, and this is something I hear back all the time, I still respond to every YouTube comment. Everyone. Partially because I'm OCD and I can't stand the red thing on the phone, but hey, I'll just be honest with you guys, I can't stand it. But when I refresh and there's a comment there that's not been responded to, I respond to it. And so I think that's something, right? You guys, I don't know who all you've met and who you want to meet or whatever it is. Something I always try to remember is that I was sitting right here in this chair. And I think that's the me, that's Tomb45, where we stay true to where we came from. Like I said, man, I'm an open book. When we go in there, somebody says, hey man, you said this, can you elaborate? I got all day. I'm not gonna run off and like hide in the back and not want to talk to y'all. I think that's something that I definitely saw coming up. I have people I looked up to that maybe I don't anymore. And something I said I was never going to do was not have time to help, people from where I came from. It was good. I'll tell you, I was in management a lot before this, so I had some, skills and knowledge that made it a little easier, because I think it's a scary jump when now you're in charge of everything. But barbershop's simple enough, or you can run it simple enough, just get booth rent in, put it in the account, pay the bills. And I didn't do it. I probably could have set myself up better at the time, but I always wanted to keep it simple. And then fortunately for me, funny enough, right, from a small town, it's different. We don't have a barber school. JT was a client that went to barber school. So it was built kind of different than maybe traditionally it is. I didn't have students coming from a barber school. I didn't start out with 10 chairs and just fill them up, different things like that. But the reason I opened the shop was because the shop owner that I was with was super old school. What he was doing was working for him. And one thing I didn't understand, which maybe some of you guys have seen this, it was his shop. So as much as I hated a lot of the stuff that he required or how it operated, I worked for him. So it just came to a point where I had to do it for my own good. I would not be standing here if I was still working in that shop. I never would have been able to use a camera to record YouTube videos. I couldn't do appointments. I couldn't raise my prices. I had to cut students for $10. I'm like, I'm done with that. So I kind of was forced to do it. And to be honest, it's not necessarily everything it's cut out to be when everybody sees the good of a shop. Owning a shop, JT could tell you, it about drives me nuts. But without doing that, I wouldn't be standing up here. So. I think I've always been, almost to a fault, somebody that always just switches stuff up. Reorganizing my room. I used to be in the cars when I could afford it. changing the wheel color, just flipping stuff. Like I'm just constantly like evolving, or I get bored like really fast. So I think to be totally transparent with you guys, I really have no idea what the next whatever looks like. This is all new. So like I said, this is the first time. I got a couple big ones coming up right after this. So this is my practice run. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to just, this is at the end of the day, if you asked me 5 years ago, what do you want to do? Man, I want to travel and educate. I didn't know what that really meant. So like I said, we do it in a lot of capacities, hair shows, private classes. We just went to Columbus, Ohio and did for 4 barbers at this super cool barbershop, private, just for them. And that was super cool. I've done classes like this one could be 50 people. That's cool. But just getting out and meeting people, and like the fact that I get to do this now, and I still cut some hair. I really, to be totally honest, I still cut people just because they're people that I'm not going to just bounce on. I can stop right now. So I don't know. I'm just looking forward to letting it roll and seeing how far it goes, right? Social media is funny, right? You just never know what's going on. I don't know how much you guys do stuff, and Reels came out, and it is kind of the new thing. You can't post a picture on Instagram anymore. Waste of time. TikTok, unfortunately, I really haven't dove into very much, but just putting stuff out there, right? Somebody came by the booth earlier and said, what's a piece of advice for my barber students? And I said, just show up. So the same thing is like, just post something, just take a picture, and I think I just did that. I knew where I wanted to go. Same thing I just said, I don't know where we're going, but I know I want to teach, and I'm going to keep just making the next step, right? That's all I know is the next step. I don't know next year what it's going to look like. So I just started posting content, started posting YouTube videos. And something I tell people with content specifically, that was really your question, right? The content?
Yeah, and then too is, like, you got more followers in that, because I am going in the social media, because I came out from school. I graduated on January right now. I've been in the shop for 6 months.
Gotcha.
But I post a lot on social media. And then some haircuts blow up and some don't.
One big tip that they do in Tampa is, tag something huge and busy nearby, like a gym. And then, hashtags. It depends on what your goal is, right? I don't post content to get clients at this point. I post it to either entertain you guys or, show a new clipper that came out or whatever. So just understanding exactly what the point is of this post. I think even JT and I have had to talk about, a lot of barbers, we're big on using like a rap lyric for the caption, right? Well, like, if you're trying to get clients, why does it not say, taking appointments Monday through Friday, this time to this time at this location? Like, that's way more impact than a cool Drake lyric. I've done it too, but again, just understand your objective and what you're trying to do. I will say, I think there's much more effective ways with the people that do come in and using them to leverage and get more clients off of that. Word of mouth is still the best thing you can do. So I don't think Instagram is just phenomenal for gaining clients. I think you can, but I don't think it's just killer. I think it's, at least most of us, we're looking at other barber stuff, we're barbers, but I just focus in on what your real objective is, and then kind of just make sure that you're making the caption right, the picture right, the location, every part of that you can do to make sure you're hitting the right people. What's to get where I was? Yeah, definitely Brandon as a person. Like I said, for one thing on Tomb45, what we do is a lot of people. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody's asked. How do you be a part of Tomb45? That's what we get all the time, and we kind of it just kind of falls together. So like Nate showed up, same as I did. He was down to carry. Man, we could tell some stories y'all be not even believing up here on packing in equipment and just the brutal, frustrating. It's hot here, right? Luckily we had a couple bags to drag in. It was easy, but we've done some brutal tasks loading in for these shows, and we stuck around. But that's the character, right? That's their character. Right? I wasn't getting paid. They might take me to dinner with them after, and that definitely has happened. It's like, all right, that's cool. That's all I need. Or I remember a time JT was with me in Elton, and we hooked him up with a power bank, so that was cool. But I never did it for that reason. And I think honestly, if you were to ask whoever it was that decided Dre, to really put me on, it was like because he shows up. So I don't claim to be the best barber, if I really put some work into something, I think I can kill it. But when I teach it to be easy to understand. I'm not trying to teach you how to do Instagram haircuts. I'm trying to teach you how to do client haircuts. So I don't claim to be phenomenal at cutting hair. I do think I'm well-rounded, so I can talk a little bit to everybody in the room and not have credibility with you because I don't do this haircut, or I even try to dabble with longer hair and layers and things like that, just so I'm well-rounded. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's at all why I'm where I'm at. I can't tell you guys I've got an opportunity coming up, but they pretty much told me that that's why that we're even in discussions, because of my character and what I bring. I want to educate. I don't want to be on stage to be on stage. I'm honestly nervous coming up here like this, right? Like, from a small town, but if you guys leave better and learn one thing, or like answer your question, okay, cool. I'm going to focus on that, and I see you in 3 years doing something like this. That's what I'm up here for. I'm not up here to so y'all take pictures with me and post. People say, "Oh, you go," and I'm like, no, like, that's silly. Like, you know what I mean? So. I love that question. I actually, it always goes back to Fazio, right? He's the boss around here, the example, I guess. And I came up under him, but I heard him on a live stream one time talk about, because that's a question everybody does, right? The more that we're doing, and maybe you want to do it, but you're like, dude, I got 2 kids at home, I got a side job, whatever it is. Like, how in the world can I manage that? Like, how do you handle work-life balance? And I'll never forget he said it on live stream. He's like, there's no such thing. You can't. And then Josh O.P., if you guys are familiar with him, we work real close together as well. Took his class, and he kind of said the same thing. He said, at the end of the day, like today, am I getting any life balances today? I'm hours away from home. My wife's taking care of both kids. It's not balanced today. When I get home, it's gonna be no work. All I can do is handle each day, focus on what I need to focus on. And Josh, back to Josh, Josh's thing is, at the end of the month, what's it look like? Because if it's balanced, then we're good. So.